Wednesday, the opening of Parliament will take place. The King will read the speech from the throne in the government's words, and indeed a pretty battered government. Quite an extraordinary election result this week, but it was widely forecast by the polls, and I think most people probably expected something like this. But there's no question, as far as I can see, that there is one institution that really does Britain credit, and that's the monarchy. There's no question at all that after his state visit to the United States, King Charles's reputation has been enormously enhanced. I mean, those speeches, they must have been cobbled together over many weeks, perhaps even months, but they were superb. The King spoke truth to power and had everyone applauding. Donald Trump was delighted with the state visit, but also gave a fillip to the Democrats, as he acknowledged. And indeed, it's so significant that soft power, when from a military point of view we are very run down, is especially important because, of course, it's linked to goodwill. You can't quantify goodwill. But if you look at what the monarchy does bring in, you have something that no other country in the world has, the ceremonial, and also the fact that it is enormously important that, for example, Buckingham Palace is refurbished. It's refurbished, the cost of £369 million over 10 years, and it's refurbished on schedule and on budget. That should be noted. And of course, it's expensive. You have bills for staff, for the upkeep of palaces, and administration, and also travel. But there is no other institution, it seems to me, like the monarchy. And the other point that seems to me so important is King Charles's personal popularity and prestige has been enormously enhanced. Here is someone in his late 70s who is fighting cancer and is able, it seems, to pull off near miracles. I don't think that from anyone's point of view that trip was going to be a disaster, but I don't think that if you consider the different boxes that those speeches ticked, the way he sketched both the benefits that we could derive and the Americans could derive for looking in the past, but also looking to the future, underlining, for example, NATO, the environment, the war in Ukraine, and obviously the cultural and the numerous advantages that both countries over the years have cultivated. Tremendous success, and from everyone's point of view. And it's significant, I think, now that the Princess of Wales very shortly will be going to Italy, and the Royal Foundation for her early learning will benefit from the fact that it will get enormous publicity from the fact that she's spending 2 days in Italy and liaising with Italians for their take on the early years. This may not be something that most people know a great deal about, but it will enormously enhance the charitable aspect of it, and that's another thing the royal family are so good at doing. Very soon the King's Trust will be commemorating some 50 years, and that has helped over 1 million disadvantaged young people finding jobs. And that beginning with when Prince Charles, he began it with his naval pay in the 1970s. And that is surely also another example of the benefits that we get from monarchy when they take on a charity. William, for example, Prince of Wales, the Earthshot Prize. I mean, that's, I think, also extremely significant. He doesn't preach, but what he does is back those who are trying to put into practice the best ways of helping combat climate change. So if you look at the fragmented political landscape, a five-party affair, it's got huge question marks. And if you balance it with what is enduring at this sort of time, the monarchy, remember the king, of course, is head of the armed force, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, head of the judiciary, the civil service, and of course supreme governor of the Church of England. It isn't the power the king has that's so significant, I feel. It's the power that he or she, and we remember with grateful thanks Queen Elizabeth, who would of course have been 100 had she lived, what she did in her reign, which lasted over 70 years. But it's so significant that King Charles, ably aided by Queen Camilla, and also that the Prince and Princess of Wales and several other members of the royal family are doing so much, which is of, and the king used the phrase of benefiting mankind when he talked about the Anglo-American relationship. Well, the royal family does benefit mankind, but also in the very, very divisive political situation in Britain at the moment, it provides absolutely essential stability.